Welcome to today's closer look at employability skills, frequently called soft skills. As we review this information, keep in mind that all employers are looking for people with these skills. Zeti.com defines employability skills as an umbrella term for a set of highly desirable transferable skills that turn you into a very attractive candidate or employee. Jex USA Partnership is the 7-county Northeast Florida region's economic development driver. As such, we interact with potential new companies as well as existing companies. All companies want talent, and they want talent that is proficient in employability skills. If they can hire someone who can do the task really well but doesn't show up to do it, you can guess that's bad for business. On your screen, you see employability skills required by employers in online job ads over the last year for occupations that support a living wage within our region. This data came from MZ job postings, and you're going to see that this need is reinforced as we take a closer look at skills needed by industry. You are going to consistently see communication, both written and verbal, ranking at the top of many lists when we go through each industry. And one thing we have noticed over time is that the importance of the ability to work independently and self-manage has become even more vital to success, particularly as jobs continue to be remote or hybrid. Today, we're going to look at target and support industries right here in Northeast Florida, but we're going to start with the target industries today. And the target industries on earnup.org have been defined in this way, and you can see this on your screen also. So advanced manufacturing, advanced transportation and logistics, financial services, health and biomedical, and IT and innovation are all part of our target industries. As we explore these employability skills, there will be question prompts, so you may wish to stop and discuss those prompts with the rest of your class. Once we talk about the employability skills by target industry, we will then look at employability skills through our support industry lens. First, we're going to start with advanced manufacturing. As you see, there are several subsets of the industry ranging from aerospace, aircraft and aviation, and defense technologies. We have almost 21,000 regional employees in Northeast Florida with an average wage per worker of nearly $72,000. And the products that are made here in the region range from beverage, food, rail, medical equipment, solar, and construction materials, just to name a few. The employability skills that those in advanced manufacturing identified for us are seen on your screen, and they range from accountability, following directions, communication, and again, email communication is also very important as well. Being able to function proficiently as a team member, and to do that, you really need to take some initiative and also volunteer to do tasks or maybe unfamiliar roles, maybe jobs that you don't necessarily want to do, but you can actually learn something from. Being able to volunteer and take that initiative is very highly regarded and sought after in the advanced manufacturing space. So you may want to pause the video and discuss this, particularly the question, why do you think accountability is so key when working in a manufacturing environment? And think about it from this lens. If there's a particular part of the process or part of an assembly that is your responsibility, if you're not there, what happens? Next, we're going to take a look at advanced transportation and logistics, and that encompasses everything on your screen, including things like smart infrastructure and autonomous vehicles. We have all benefited in the last several years from a very strong system of transportation and logistics right here in our region, and we will continue to do so as this industry keeps growing. In the region, we have over 44,600 employees in this space, and the average wage per worker is a little bit over $51,000. When we talk to those that work in transportation and logistics roles, they shared these top employability skills. You see those on your screen. One of the examples mentioned was if you're in an interview situation, they may take the first 10 minutes to see if you actually understand the scope of the job and have the skills to do the job. The rest of the interview may be made up of questions that really help them identify if you're going to be a good fit for the organization. And they may ask you things that will allow you to demonstrate right and left brain thinking, that process orientation, where maybe you can take a 6-step process and change it to a 4-step process. And in doing so, you're going to increase efficiency and save time and money for your company. They're looking to see if you have those types of employability skills that is going to really help you be extremely successful in transportation and logistics. Of course, it helps to have a genuine interest in the industry to do a great job as well. So you may wish to stop the video and discuss at this time why being process oriented is a skill that employers would want in new hires and current employees if they're working in transportation and logistics. Financial services is also one of our target industries here in Northeast Florida. And you see on your screen that can range in things from investment banking, maybe mortgage assistance, to fintech and financial security. That big data analytics and cybersecurity are really important components of the industry as well. And in this region, we have nearly 62,000 employed in financial services, as well as the average wage per worker hovering at nearly $91,000. The employability skills identified by those in financial services definitely include the following on your screen, and that begins with being able to work in a fast-paced environment, working in your strengths, and that means understanding what you're really good at, offering that as a great skill for your employer. The top performers demonstrate these employability skills: being driven, motivated, coachable, being okay with change. Can you actually deal with and work successfully when things change around you? And being able to take feedback and implement positive changes. All of those things are really, really important to employability skills in financial services. Having high emotional intelligence is also important. Think about it if you are interacting with a customer as a teller, let's say. Being able to communicate and understand what that customer really needs, that requires high emotional intelligence. Something else that is highly regarded as an employability skill is self-awareness and the ability to self-manage. You mentioned this a couple of slides back. Self-management is critical, again, because a lot of people are not working together in an office, but they still need to get the job done. The job needs to be done correctly, and they need to make those deadlines. So think about this question and talk about it as a class. What does it mean to be self-aware? And how can this help you be more effective in the workplace? Another one of our significant industries in the region is health and biomedical, and that ranges from pharmaceuticals to medical devices research and healthcare IT. In this industry, 1 in 8 jobs are healthcare related, and there are about 3,700 establishments in health and biomedical right here in Northeast Florida. The employability skills identified by those in health and biomedical are seen on your screen here. They range from leadership, confidence, and ambition to being able to ask for help and admit shortcomings, admit where you maybe need to improve and be better. And to be able to do all of those things requires great communication skills. They also talked about the ability to approach and talk to a patient or their families. A lot of times people may be in a healthcare situation, not because it's a great thing. And so you have to be able to talk to those individuals, understand where they're coming from, listen, and then respond appropriately and clearly. It's also very, very important to be able to make quick, efficient, and correct decisions. And you have to balance that clinical judgment with the ability to be compassionate and have that good communication we just talked about. It's also really important to be open and be willing to learn and be flexible in clinical settings, because things are going to change and they may change very rapidly, and you just have to adapt. It's also really important to want to keep learning, to have that initiative to stay updated on current practices, new technology, new equipment, new standards of proceeding, as far as healthcare plans for individuals. Things are going to change all the time. And so you need to show that initiative to be successful. So think about this as a class. Why do you think it is so important to communicate precisely in healthcare, to be accurate and to communicate accurately? And this could be written or verbal. So chat about that as a class, and then we'll move to the next slide. IT and innovation is an industry that stands on its own, but every single one of our target and support industries in Northeast Florida is heavily reliant on technology. And you can see that reflected in the subsets of IT, anything from healthcare to autonomous vehicles, defense technologies, data centers, to energy, solar, and water technologies, as you see on your screen. There are over 14,000 regional employees in IT and innovation right here in our region, with an average wage of over $123,000 per year. Employability skills that were cited by those already in the field are shown on your screen, and they range from being that really curious person, that person that wants to tinker, they want to always learn. They're the person that was taking apart and putting together computers and learning programming language on their own just for fun. Those individuals, they cite as being very successful in IT. Also, taking ownership of one's learning and career trajectory, not just waiting for somebody to approach you with an opportunity, but really seeing what's out there, getting the skills needed, and using that to better yourself and your career. Also, being willing to adapt to a lot of different environmental changes within the workplace, being interested in reaching new conclusions. That means just being open-minded and thinking about all kinds of options and troubleshooting opportunities. Also, being somebody that likes to take on and accept challenges is really, really critical as well, because you're going to be troubleshooting and probably in pretty tense situations to come up with really viable solutions. So think about this. A lot of people think that being curious is a personality trait, but it really is a skill, particularly as identified by those already in IT. So how is being curious an important skill for those in IT? So think about that, chat about it, and we will launch into our next industry. Okay, so next up we have our support industries. These are also really growing in Northeast Florida as our region continues to expand in population. And again, our website is there on your screen. If you click on support industries, you are going to see we've identified 6 of those, and they range from construction to public service, agribusiness, real estate, education, and recreation and hospitality. So what we're going to do now is actually look at our support industries, and the employability skills shared are going to be those we actually identified through job postings on MC. So the first industry we're going to have a look at is agribusiness. Tremendous economic impact in agribusiness in our region, $132 billion annually. And agribusiness is the 7th largest industry in the Northeast Florida region. The employability skills identified in agribusiness related job posts are shown here. And we definitely see how these skills are so applicable if you're working in this space. Team player, being adaptable and flexible, certainly having that tolerance of change and uncertainty. You may have done everything to plan and plant your crops, but you can't control the weather. So you may just need to adapt to those particular circumstances to have a successful harvest. Certainly, you may need to grow plants or to think about how you want to sell those plants, those products. To do that, you will need customer service skills and organization and communication, written, verbal. That should be no surprise to anybody that has been watching this video, that is an imperative skill. And again, really helps with that customer service component of agribusiness. You're not just outgrowing the products, you are actually needing to sell those products to provide that customer service. Construction I'm sure every single person watching this video has seen the orange cones that denote road work or bridge work. You probably have seen new buildings going up, whether that's residential and commercial. And as a result, we've got about 50,000 people employed in construction right here in Northeast Florida with an average wage of around $54,000 per year. And these employability skills should come as no surprise either. Certainly the ability to communicate. You have to be able to communicate on a job site, and that could be anything from looking at written site plans and schematics and being able to talk about what that really means. The ability to be a team player. You see on your screen several different folks there. They are going to need to work as a team to complete that project in front of them. And to do so, they will also need an incredible work ethic to get that job done, to get it done on deadline and on budget. To be able to do those things, of course, you have to be self-motivated and independent. You have to be able to take a task and run with it and complete it. But again, by you completing those tasks independently, you're also contributing as a team and you're demonstrating a work ethic. And certainly being detail oriented is extremely important in this field. You want to make sure that everything is done precisely and according to plan. So consider this. Why do you think it is so important to be detail oriented in the construction industry? Next, we're going to take a look at public service. We've got about 32,000 employed in this region. Average wage per worker is over $67,000. And when we take a look at employability skills in public service, again, looking at those job postings, we looked at over 4,600 job postings, and these were the skills that really rose to the top. No surprise with communication and customer service, that ability to have those interpersonal relationships was also very important. Crisis management is key. And to manage a crisis, you're typically solving problems, and you're typically solving them in a pretty tense situation in which problems need to be solved very, very quickly. So critical thinking is really important to be able to do those things as well. So think about this. If you were an emergency responder, a police officer, or a lawyer, a paralegal, why do you think problem solving is so important? Education, we've got about 41,000 individuals employed in education in this region. And as the region continues to expand and more students need that particular service, we will continue to see more jobs growing in the education space with an average wage per worker of almost $46,000 per year. When we looked at those job postings, and we looked at thousands of job postings, and it didn't matter if it was in elementary education, secondary education, or administration. In the education space, communication ranked number one. Organization and time management are also critical. The ability to lesson plan, execute that plan is absolutely fundamental. Supervision and management. That could be your own personal classroom management, or that could mean managing a group of teachers, or managing an entire school or school system. Also, that ability to maintain interpersonal relationships is fundamental. So again, these skills were across the board, regardless of what grade you taught or if you were an administrator in the education space. Hospitality and leisure, just like agribusiness, this is an industry that has tremendous economic impact, $3.8 billion economic impact, employing about 80,000 individuals in Northeast Florida. This should come as no surprise because this region is very, very desirable for tourists. And for those of us that are fortunate enough to live here, we get to also enjoy the aspects that come along with having this very strong industry in our region. When we looked at job postings, we looked at nearly 2,900 different job postings, and these were the skills that ranked at the top. Communication was in about 1,500 job ads, and customer service was not far behind with about 1,200 job ad references. And of course, you see team player, supervision and management, and organization also being really critical. Think about your own experience when you have gone to a restaurant, when you have gone to a theater, when you've gone to an amusement park. Why do you think it's so important that somebody is organized or that somebody provides great customer service? Think about that experience and how it could have been good or bad. dependent on somebody's ability to execute these employability skills. So chat about that, and we will move to the next slide. Real estate also continuing to thrive as an industry in our region, with nearly 11,000 people employed in real estate here in Northeast Florida, with an average wage per worker a little over $54,000. And when we looked at job postings, we're seeing some of those very similar skills pop up: communication, customer service, problem solving, team player, and organization. There were about 3,900 real estate jobs that we looked at. Communication was in 2,500 of them. So overwhelmingly, that is a top skill. But think about it from this perspective. If you were a real estate agent, what kind of information do you think you would need to organize? And why would it be so important to have this information organized? So think about that, and then we will move to our final slide. So with that Ajax USA partnership, we hope this information has been helpful. Perhaps it brought some new things to light for you, or reinforced information and understanding you already had as far as employability skills. But again, we hope this has been helpful, and we hope you have an excellent day.